Hi everybody, hello. My name is Noah, this is my Flosstube channel. If you are new to Flosstube, this is a channel about cross stitch, crochet, sometimes knitting, sometimes quilting, sometimes sewing. But a lot about my personal life and a lot about my personal cat? He's just a cat. I mean, he's mine. He's asleep right now, looking at me. But we'll see if he gets up. And his name's Erickson. Okay, I think that might be the first intro I've ever done where it's actually an intro in the first minute. I'll go ahead and get all the YouTube stuff out of the way too. Like, comment, and subscribe. Find me on Instagram at Noah Stitches. Okay, now to the good stuff. Oh, Noah Stitches is with a period in between. Okay. Also, okay, come close. My neighbor is like on the other side of the wall, so I always feel like he's listening to me and it's always super awkward. I don't know, it's a little cringe. But hi, hello. I have my coffee, a very large mug, and a very large handle. Look at this, oh my gosh. It's so full, I don't want to spill it. Look how cute this is. Oh, ignore my coffee marks. Oops. A little cringy. Says, I'm only a morning person on Christmas. Which is kind of true. At least it was when I was a kid. Now as an adult, I'm like, I can start Christmas whenever I want. But, it is snowing here in Tennessee today. If you are outside the US, Tennessee is inside of the United States. It is in the lower half. South. I don't know. Tennessee's kind of in the middle. But Tennessee's a state in the US. It's really not that important here. You don't really need to know that much about it. But it's snowing today, November 30th. We have not had snow this early for a few years, at least in this town. We normally get snow in January, February, because typically November and December are kind of warm here. We fluctuate between 50 and 60, so we don't drop Fahrenheit. We don't drop beneath that during that season, so we just get cold rain. But today it's been snowing all day, so it's just really just put a smile on my face, and it makes me feel like it's just all nice and tucked in, nice warm weather, and I've got my flannel on, and I don't know, it just truly feels like winter now, and I'm so excited for it. It's still snowing right now. There's snow on the trees, and Erickson has just absolutely been obsessed with trying to catch the flurries through the window. It's been super cute. See, I told you I had personal life shenanigans. I have a lot to talk about today, so please grab something to drink, something to eat, some stitching. If you just want to play some video games while I'm talking, it's totally up to you. I have a game plan for today. I have some FFOs, I have two. I thought I had a game plan, and now it's out of my brain. Oh my goodness. I have FFOs, I have, which are fully finished objects. We love acronyms in this community. If some people ask or say that FFO stands for finally effing over, hopefully YouTube doesn't get mad at me for saying that. I say a lot of and a lot of like, because I never know what's coming next out of my mouth. I'll let that joke sit there for you, if you would like. I do want to get a couple of things out of the way because I don't truly have a haul section. Oh, so that's where we were going. Oh my goodness. See, I told you, I'm a little weird, a little funky. So we have fully finished objects today. We have no FOs. I typically FFO all of my cross stitches or pieces as soon as I do them, because if I don't, they'll just go into a bucket and they'll just sit there for months and months and months until I get into the finishing spirit. So I just finish them as soon as I get them done. I also have works in progress, or otherwise known as whips, and I don't have any new starts, I don't think, which is very impressive for a 2-week time period from me. I'm really just trying to lower my whip pile because I feel it's a little stressing me out, just a tad. And then I want to go ahead and talk about this needle minder kit that I received from Abby Topknot before I get started into any of the cross stitch stuff, because these are so cool. Like, super duper cool. You've probably already seen them all over online because I feel like I'm late to the game when it comes to talking about it. But they're on pre-order right now because she sold out of her first batch. I'm so happy for her. So let's just show exactly what we're talking about here. So Abby Topknot, who is a cross-stitcher, and she is also, as her business card says, a pattern curator. I believe it's right here. Let me grab it because I love how she talks about it. Oh, I'm shaking the camera. Oh, I just love her business card. This is where all of her information is at, right here. Oh, focus, babe, focus. So, Top Knot Stitcher Shop. She has her own website. It's Abby. I'm sure y'all all know her off of Flosstube, Instagram, her shop, all that good stuff. I've bought her needle minders. I have those. I've shown them in the past. But she released something super duper cool. So it is the DIY needle minder kit. And I'm just going to read y'all to it. So it's in this like metal tin, reusable tin. Just going to go through it really fast for y'all. So it says, ever looked at a needle minder and thought, I could make that? Well, now you can. This needle or this kit contains everything you need to make your own needle minders. The only thing missing is your next cross stitch project and your needle. The contents are 10 magnets. It's got 4 large, 6 small, 1 mini tube of E6000 craft glue, which is, we're gonna get to that because this is so cool, and a few crafty items to get you started. So there's a seal on the tin right there. I peel my seal. Oh, I like the way that sounds. I peel my seal. So I peel it back just because I'm obsessed with all things cute, and it's got this adorable little logo on there, and I just don't want to destroy it. So you open it up. I did not package this back correctly because I don't have the skill that Abby did, but the way that she had set this up was absolutely beautiful. Michelle Bendy has an unboxing on her YouTube, no, on her Instagram TV. I think it's Instagram TV or Reels. I forget what they call those things now. Are those two separate things? I don't know. Michelle Bendy, I'll link her below on the on her Instagram. She does a full unboxing, and it's even better than what I'll be able to do here. But because I kind of messed it up because I had to make one. It was just too cute, y'all. Look at this. Oh, why was I gonna do that? Look at this kitty cat. It's a catacorn. So I made this. I made my first needle minder. And you can too. I'm so excited. Okay, so look, these magnets, oh, they're so strong. She's always had great magnets, but let me talk about this, what was in it. So when I unpacked it the first time, beautifully packaged, there was a miniature tube of E6000, which I have upside down, compared to that giant tube that is incredibly hard to maneuver. And there's this note. So it says, a note from Abby Topknot. Hi, friend. My business started out back in 2018 when I made a few needle minders for friends in my local stitching group. And then it slowly but surely snowballed into a full online needlework store. I get a lot of questions about the supplies I use and how to make needle minders, and eventually this DIY kit was born. While the shop has grown and evolved a lot over the past few years, needle minders remain close to my heart. It's just so fun to find the perfect minder to go with a new project or send a little stitchy gift to a friend. I love creating a top-notch collection of cross-stitch patterns, thread, fabric, needle minders, scissors, and much more for my customers. I hope you'll check it out. And then she mentions that she can tag her on Instagram and all of that good stuff of what we create, happy stitching, and then she gave me a little code for $5 off the next time I'm in her store, which you receive as well when you get one of these kits. So within the kit, there are these, the magnets right up here at the top. There are the little ones, she has them like tucked. There's 2, so this one, there's another one on the other piece of paper, and it just goes right on this metal tin. It's perfect. I already used one of the large ones to do the catacorn because last night I was like, I have to make this so I can use it tomorrow when I'm stitching. But look how cute. And then there is this extremely, if I would not have had this, I would not have been able to make my needle minder. And it's a step-by-step how to do it right here. So she has a DIY needle minder guide, and it's just 3 items. I was very worried about this. I was like, I'm going to glue my finger shut with this E6000, or I'm gonna end up with a magnet somehow glued to, I don't know, the ceiling, just because I feel like this is just so difficult. It took me 2 minutes to make one, and it was so much fun. She also, so you get 5 of the acrylic. You get some acrylic, some wood, and I will show you the other ones right now, and they come in a little bag. This is kind of a button right here. I love this piece. I don't have any Christmas projects right now, so that's the reason I didn't go ahead and make that one, but I would use one of the small magnets for that. Here is a wooden one. It's similar to a button. Like it has a little, those little holes. Oh, you can't see. I love that panda. Here is like mermaid scales. I'm gonna put this on my Mirabilia because I love the way the color shifts on that. And then, of course, you have to have the top knot fox. So, and I love mine because it's like a pink red. It's super cute. So I've been wanting to just make all of them. So now that I've shown y'all, after this, I'm just gonna glue them all together. She includes a tip in here about when you're working with the E6000 and creating the minder, what you can do is actually take the needle minder, set it on the magnet stuck. Set it on the back of this tin, so when you glue it, the magnet doesn't shift because the glue is wet at first. But this thing is on there. It's not ever going away. So I'm pretty proud of it. It, again, took me just a couple minutes. She has them for pre-order again on her shop because she sold out. And I'm so happy that she did because these are amazing. I've never seen anything like this in the cross-stitch community, which is why I'm just so excited to talk about it. And then, so when she sent that to me, if you follow Abby, which everyone should be, again, I'll put her down there in the description box. She sent me 2, well, she didn't send me 2 toys. Jam, her cat, sent Erickson 2 toys. So this is one of them. This has like a little catnip in there. At first, I read the letter that she put in there, but at first I didn't think this was a cat toy. I thought it was one of those finger traps, so I was playing with it for like a solid 3 minutes, and I thought that was a note inside of it. So okay, her letter literally says there are cat toys, and I thought this was a human toy. I'm pausing for laughter. But he absolutely loves this. I can never find it. It took me like 20 minutes to find this because he plays with it all the time. And then she also sent, Jam also sent Home is Where the Cat Is. And it's like a crinkly, it's about to be loud, headphone users. It's like a crinkly, and it also has like a little bell inside. Oh, he just woke up when I started playing with that. Which I think, will he make his debut on this video? Nope, he's putting his head back down. Ooh, big stretch. Oh, come here, come here, come here. Let me show you so I can get into the cross stitch and everything. I'm gonna put like a timestamp or something. But let's get into the cross stitch. I have a fully finished object because he's not coming over here. He's just glaring at me right now. It is one of the goals that I set in my last video was to finish my mittens pattern by Rachel Nichols. I received this pattern in exchange with Caroline. I'll link her below as well. Caroline is Off the Grid Needle Arts here on Flosstube. Everyone knows and loves her. She's also that on Instagram. She has a shop. I have a bag from her. I've talked about her plenty of times. And this is my finish. Not perfect, but it's finished. So this, right after my video, it's wanting to like crease right there. Right after my video, I was like, I have to get this done. So I spent a few days on this one. This is where I'm at, the stitching. I did switch up here. These were supposed to be white, the B5200. I switched it to gray. So I just wanted a little bit more of the gray pulled up to the top as well. I did do a satin stitch for the mountains. I did full crosses for the actual mountain peaks. And then I did half crosses kind of mixing, so I would have different textures on my pillow. It sits on my bed. It's perfect for the winter, and today, again, it's still snowing right now. I'm just so excited. It's just absolutely perfect. This is the fabric for it. It's this plaid, cute penguin, gold lining. I just love it. But these are my corners. I think I did pretty well on them. I'm still kind of getting used to working with pillows. This one's not as pointed, but it's all right. This is where my seam was. This is where I sewn it shut. Julie sent me Kansas City girl sent me a video on how to do an invisible stitch. I think it did pretty well. I did do a little bit of top stitching around the edge, just to kind of frame it in there as well. But I just followed a few YouTube tutorials here on YouTube, and it was pretty simple. I filled it with polyfill, nothing special. So yeah, this was my finish. This will be my screen grab because I'm just so proud of it. But when I go to bed at night, this comes off and it goes into the closet so he doesn't mess with it at night, because I feel like if he was to mess with anything, it does not need to be this. So this is just gonna sit behind me on my chair. Oh, you can see the top of it. Okay, I just love it. And I tracked that with my project tracker. This is the first project tracker I've started a project and ended while having, because I've recently only started using these. These are by S. Ward Designs here on Etsy, right there. These are really nice, like cardstock paper. And with it, I started it on November 7th, finished on November 19th. I spent 12 days on it. There, I marked right there. Oh, so I didn't finish it on Flosstube Day. I finished it on, I finished it a few days after. I thought I nailed it. But yeah. So this is it is 18 count Aida. I did 4 strands of DMC floss over 2. So it would give that bigger 9 count Aida. See how the cross stitches are bigger? So now that this is a finished project, I can take my little progress tracker and go put it in my cute little binder. So I can look at it in like a year and be like, oh, I remember when I stitched that. I also have another finish. It is my Autumnal Afghan. It doesn't have a set pattern. It is a crochet piece. The yarn is Karen Anniversary Cakes. It is in the colorway Tiramisu. I did a log cabin granny square inspired pattern. I did end up changing it as I went because you'll see here in a minute, it got quite large. I started it in October. I didn't have a set date because I had already started it before I got my progress tracker, and I finished it on November 29th, so yesterday. Yeah, I spent 25 days roughly on this, and you can see here, I did that. Again, S. Ward Designs on Etsy. I'll link her below. She does have list of floss and all of that on the back, but it's a yarn project, so I didn't use it for that, but just to show that you can use it for other projects than crochet. This is where it's at right now. Well, it's done. It's not where it's at, it's done. I have it folded up. I'm going to try to get it into frame because it was much larger than I anticipated. It was supposed to be a lap Afghan. It's not a lap Afghan anymore. I got kind of carried away with the colors. Oh, just look at that. I'm so excited. Now that it's winter outside, it's kind of funny because this is so autumn, but I do love the colors still. Okay, so there we go. Maybe I'll do a half up, half down. Yeah, that'll be a good way to do it. Okay, so here it is. Oh, I should have measured it before. All of my ends are woven in. There we go. I ended up doing 8 rows towards the center, and where they're skinnier rows, I did 4 because it got to be too large, and I was gonna run out of color before I could do the whole frame of it. But this is where it's at. And then, I just said that again, it's a finish. This is the full. Oh, and it's so soft. Erickson loves it. I haven't taken photos of it yet because it's quite difficult to get photos of crochet projects when they're done with blankets because they never look right, which is fine because, you know, that's not the point of a blanket, but to get a photo of it, but it is nice to have something like this, so. Oh, I'll just set that there now that it's done. Oh my goodness. It's really soft and it's warm, but at the same time it's breathable because of the granny square inspire. It has the little chunks there. So, all right, those were my FFOs and FOs. We'll step right into works in progress as well, or whips. We have, oh, he's staring at me. He's on the bed right now sleeping. He's just glaring. Because most of the time when I'm talking, he thinks I'm talking to him. Go to sleep, baby. It's okay. All right. My first whip that I want to talk about is the one that I got the most progress on. I haven't stitched in, I think, 4 or 5 days. School has just been... I mean, it's been putting me through the ringer. But we're so close to the finish. My last final is December 7th. So all of my assignments are due December 6th or December 7th as well. A lot of them were due yesterday and a lot of them were group projects. So that's where my time has been spent, as well as I work at Michael's. So Black Friday, it's the biggest weekend for retail. So I clocked 30 hours in 3 days. As well as coming home and doing homework. I had a friend come in from out of town, so I got to spend some time with her, quarantine and COVID safe and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it was, the last 4 or 5 days have been the longest days I've had in a long time. I'm ready to get back into my crafts. I think once this is starting to upload and I get the show notes done, I'm just gonna spend the rest of the night just stitching away because I deserve that. It's true. So my first whip, back to that, is Antonio by Satsuma Street. There is the information right there. Doing it on 32 count even weave. It's a green one. I'm doing it with the called for flosses, as well as it's a stitch along. That's what SAL stands for. I'm shaking because I haven't eaten in a while. That's so embarrassing. So I'm doing it with the called for. It's a stitch along with Scott and Julie. So that's Scott Stitches in Spain. I'll link him down below. He's almost done. He only has like 3 blocks left. And then I'm also doing it with Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. Again, she's already going to be linked down there in the description box. We are kind of having a competition right now as to who's going to finish last, because it seems that we have all of our stitching right now. So we have all these beautiful whips and, you know, we want to touch all of them. So it's kind of a running joke. Since the last Flosstube, I've worked on this for 4 days. Man, when it sounds like that, it's not that it's discouraging. I just want to put more work into it. Again, I wish my job, full-time job, could just be to sit at home and stitch, right? So I worked on it the 20th, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. I have it in my Everything binder by DM's Crafty Vortex, Dawn Marie. She also has a Flosstube. She just got married, so everyone just say congratulations for her. Her wedding photos were beautiful. I'm so happy. She posted a Flosstube, which, again, I'm behind because the past week I've been so school and work minded that my Flosstube watch list has grown and grown and grown. So maybe I'll chip into that this evening. But she made this for me. She does have the possibility of selling these in the future, but as of right now, Velcro, as of right now, they are not available. She just made this for me as a friend because she's extremely sweet. So when you open it up, I have, well, that was it closed. I have my fabric sitting in there. That's what this is. I have a board. I'm back to being a real floss tuber today. I went and did some errands and I was like, I've got to pick up my board. So, oh, let me show you. I've got to straighten out my threads, I'm sorry. I have, in my binder, I have a needle minder. This is by Stitch and Button. It's tucked away in that in case little one ends up somehow ending up in here and he doesn't swallow a magnet. So I have it behind a zipper and some vinyl. It also has spoolie thread holders and again that Ziploc system. I have an Ort holder, which is where I hang off my variegated threads to show which side is the top part and which side is the bottom. And what I mean by that is when I'm working with variegated, I like the same side to be, oh, I'm shaking that bad. I like the same, when I'm pulling the threads from the variegated floss, I like to use the same end as my like starting point each time I start the thread. So if it's dark on one side, I want to continue using the dark side. So I have all of my, I just did a poor job at describing how I use variegated threads, sorry. And then there are all of my floss bobbins tucked away in that floss buddy. And now let's show you the cross stitch. Or I'll show you the full, what it's supposed to look like first. This again is by Satsuma Street. It is Otoño, which stands for autumn in Spanish. I am currently learning Spanish. Philip, he's here on Flosstube as well. I'm gonna link him below. He's kind of helping me out with learning Spanish, but with everything being so busy right now, that's kind of taken a back burner, which sounds bad, but I just don't have enough time right now. I am shaking this camera bad today. Okay, this is what it's going to look like when it's done. The glare from my lights are bad, sorry. Look how beautiful that is. 9 blocks, all autumn related. The variegated threads in this are just stunning. I love this as a SAL with Scott and Julie because theirs looks different because of the way that their variegated flosses look. So now to actually show the cross stitch. Ooh. Okay, there we go. I think last time y'all saw it, I did not have the mushrooms done or any of this border. I didn't have it boxed in yet. I started on this bird right next to him, and then something happened. This neck is too high up. It's supposed to actually be about 2 stitches down. I was watching TV when I was doing the counting in here. Don't recommend. I was doing the counting as I was watching TV, and he's just gonna be a little bit shorter than maybe he should. So actually his neck is right in here, and I'm just gonna take away some stitches from that. So he'll have a little bit extra longer legs, and to me, he'll be even that much cuter. But I do love the way that these mushrooms turned out. They're just so pretty. Again, with the variegated, what I was talking about is if I start with white, I want to use the white towards the dark. And then the next one I'll pick up is going to be white to dark because I love that sharp contrast right here where they butt up against each other. Love it. Again, this is a 32 count even weave, and I am doing the called for threads. Okay, we're at 27 minutes and I'm almost done with cross stitch stuff. That's the good thing about working monogamously. Monotony? There is a word. So working on one project at a time. You gain more stitching time, right? It's less to show y'all, but with the way that my schedule is, I don't really have a lot of stitchy time, so if I touched all of my whips, it'd be like 10 stitches a piece. So this is, again, my everything binder. Love it. And I keep the progress tracker in it as well. I just didn't do it this time because I'm filming and I forgot. My next whip is my Mystery Sampler by Linen and Threads. It is the Mystery Sampler 2020. Oh, the shaking is getting worse. I started it on January 1st. The goal is to finish this by the end of the year. I already have 2020 stitched on it, and I would really appreciate myself if I could finish by the end of the year, but if I don't finish by the end of the year, I'm okay with that too. Life happens, I get it, but I go on winter break after next week, so I could really sit down in a few days and knock it out. But since the last time I saw you guys, girls and non-binary pals, because I hate using gender-specific language, I stitched on it 4 days. I stitched on it the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 25th. I did get to finish the September section. I now have October, November, and December. I am using DMC 311, and I am doing it on 18 count oatmeal Ada. It is the box store bought one. I think I got it from Michael's before I worked there. It may have been from Joanne, but I don't typically go to them for my fabric, but sorry, I'm rolling it out. I did iron and post this on my story the other day, or on my Instagram the other day when I finished September. I didn't keep it ironed because I put it back in the project bag, so it's not ironed today. But if you would like to see the ironed version, it's on my Instagram. So this is where we're at. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm sorry. Seeing it on the camera, I mean, there's a difference, right? Seeing cross stitch close up when you're a stitcher and you're stitching on it, you see it, but then you don't really. You know what I mean? Until you see it like this. I'm like peeping around. I keep seeing that on people. When people post on their Instagram stories that they're watching me, when I do this, they're like, peekaboo, and I'm like, oh, I really am doing that, aren't I? But I'm trying to make sure it's in frame. So again, using DMC 311, it's kind of cattywampus, which is my new favorite word, by the way. But this is the September section right here. It is this little tree right here, this beautiful flower, this motif, and then this one. I thought this would take longer to stitch, and it actually went by really fast. The beautiful thing about Quakers, look how big April is compared to everything else. This was the month of April, and mid-pandemic, and it still took me, I think, a week to stitch, and I was stitching on it forever. But this is where it's at. Oh, that's showing true to color. Oh, that's so true to color. Look at that. Wow. I know I'm oohing and awing over my own stitching, which might sound conceited, but to me, this reminds me of old, not terracotta, the fine china. Do you remember those teacup sets and stuff that were white? Kind of off-white, but they had the dark blue, the stark blue, and it was, you know what I'm talking about. If I edited these, I would totally insert a photo right here, but I'm 9 floss tubes in, and I think I'm just a lost cause at this point. But unless someone came to my house and shows me how to edit on my laptop in an efficient way, it's just not gonna happen. And so they just remind me of these teacup sets, and so when I'm stitching on it, it's very soothing because it's 18 count Aida, it's easy to see for me, and it's not an even weave where I'm having to double count over, like over 2 or over 1, and then it's just one color. So I can preload needles and just sit down. Maybe this is what I'll work on today. I think I just talked myself into working on this afternoon, because I can get some serious work done into October then. October's month is really, really cool. So Brendan and his wife, her name, I am so sorry. They designed these together, and oh, December just came out, so I can show you all that real fast. Beautiful, beautiful months. And I'm really excited to get into October because there's these little ghosts and these little bats. A lot of people didn't like it. Design your own. So they had to release another one. I'm stitching it as designed originally because I think it's really cool. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about right now because they released December. Because I'm in the US, Australia is 24 hours ahead of me, so technically December 1st has already happened. So at midnight my time is when it's released for Australia as well. So I always get it a day in advance, but obviously I'm 3 months behind. So this is what the completed pattern looks like. Again, it was a mystery stitch along, so we didn't know what it was going to look like at the beginning of the year. And I am just in awe of how that looks. Wow. And for a free stitch along, this is just stunning. Look at that. Look, so these are those little ghosties. I love them. And there's a bat right there. You see the bat? So if you kind of cover, let me get a piece of paper so I don't touch my screen and it mess up. See how it's a bat? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm doing a really poor job at this. You see how that's a little bat right here? Oh my gosh. It's a bat, just believe me. It's adorable. I see it, and I'll point it out in the when I stitch that section. It'll probably be easier for me to show once it's stitched up. But it's kind of cool now that I've run into the side edge, because now I want to reach the corners and I want to start framing it in. I did see someone on Facebook, because they do have a Linen and Threads Facebook group for this, and for all of their stitching, but it's also posted about the 2020 sale. And someone has done a little border around the edges of theirs, around the entire Quaker, like the entire piece. I think I might do that. Just at least a single stitch border around it, because it just frames it really nicely. And I may do that, I may not. I may hit December and just, oh, it's done. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that. Those are all of my whips. That's it. I'm trying to work on pieces that I really would like done. Let me move this out of the way so you can see this amazing book. I'm trying to knock out some whips because it's already started, but they're kind of stressing me out. I don't know if y'all ever run into those issues, but it is what it is. It's not that it stresses me out, because cross stitch doesn't stress me out. It's more about wanting to complete all of them and not having the time. So, you know, that's where I'm at. I have a few other things. I'm not leaving yet. 35 minutes. This is impressive. I want to talk about a couple of heirloom pieces. I want to talk about at least one heirloom piece, and then show these other pretty cool things that I've done in the past. So this guy right here, I had just posted him on my story on Instagram. I post too much on those things. I also made a little, what are they called? Story, like they're on your profile where they're just permanent stories under your name. I made one for Erickson. So if y'all want to watch him grow up over the Snapchats, it's so cute. But I made this last year. His antlers are all wonky. They just want to, they're limp. Pause for laughter. See how limp they are? Okay, anyways. I made him last year. He's a crochet little guy. I followed a pattern. I forget which pattern. I'm sure I got it off of Ravelry or YouTube. And he's the first ever stuffed animal I've made with crochet. He's also been the last so far. Look at his little tail. He was a huge learning curve, but I absolutely love him. And now that it's Christmas time again, he can come out. His name is Rudolph. Even he has a red nose. It's a given. You have to. But yeah, he's just gonna sit right here next to this no-named author book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Oh, someone asked earlier, or last week too. I moved my No New Worlds up there. It is the cross stitch by Artist Designs. My brain is fried. Artist Designs. I also have When There Are 9 right there. I don't know how to do this. When There Are 9, that's by Kansas City Girl. It's by her shop on Gumroad. And I have a weird little elf right there that I got at an antique store. Fun story about that real fast, so if you just want to skip this story. Last year I had him on a bookshelf. This bookshelf to be exact. I would come home and he would be laying on the floor. I didn't have Erickson at the time. I didn't have a partner or anybody that came into my home. So I would just simply put him back up on the bookshelf and continue on with my life. And then I would come home and he'd be face down in the floor again. And I bought him from an antique store, so I'm like, burn it, like it's possessed, right? Obviously not, because he's there. Turns out he's just top heavy. So this little elf, he goes in a Christmas tree. If anyone has any information on these elves, I think I paid like $1 for him. He's adorable. This is a plastic face, but everything else is cloth, and his little legs come out. So I had him sitting there like this with his little limpy legs. And what is with me and limp? God, I had his legs out like this. Well, that's the reason he kept falling over, because his head was too heavy. So here I was thinking that I had a ghostie in my house, and it was just science and physics. So now I kind of pin him up there. And he gets kind of wedged in so he doesn't fall, because there's nothing creepier than coming home from a long shift. It's 11 o'clock at night, and you walk in and you step on it and you go, now why is that on the floor? But another weird story, I pulled a cat toy out from underneath the fridge because he had shoved it underneath when he was playing in the kitchen. And I came back in maybe like 5 or 6 minutes later, and why 6 minutes? Why did I choose 6? I don't know. I came in about 5 minutes later, and this was just laying in the middle of the floor. I didn't see it under the fridge. I assume that's where it came from. I had pulled out another cat toy. I think he found it. I didn't see it. I'm gonna throw it away, because it was just sitting in the middle of my floor. It's not his. It is a cat toy, and it's obviously old. I just thought it was creepy, and I had to share that with y'all. I have a few other cross stitches that are on my tree now that it's Christmas time and I've decorated my house. I have a Mill Hill kit that oh yeah, back to cross stitch, sorry. See, that's why my channel is not made for people that are just here for the stitching and then to leave. You can enjoy the stitching, but I talk a lot. This is a Mill Hill that I finished earlier this year. I cannot remember the name. I did a felt backing, and I just put my initials and 2020, but now that it's actually Christmas time, it's on my tree again, so I just wanted to show that. All of these are beads. I think I remember posting this on Instagram when I had finished it. I think I had the Instagram at the time. I may have posted it here on, or talked about it here on Flosstube, I can't remember. I also pulled, when I was at Joann earlier, I pulled some felt, some sticky felt, and I just want to share this with y'all because I thought it was pretty cool. The felt that you can buy at craft stores, there are some that have these adhesive on the back. So when you pull this off, now I can't get a hold of it, of course, there's an adhesive. And typically with the felt, I just glue it on with Eileen's tacky glue, but with the adhesive one, I don't have to. So that Mill Hill one, the Halloween ornament that I finished, that is so rude. So rude. Every video I have to have a car that just is super obnoxious. I had finished this actually a couple of floss tubes ago. I still haven't put the backing on, but that's because I hadn't gone to the store to buy it. So now I have a backing, I'll put the backing on, and it'll go on my Christmas tree, even though it's a Halloween ornament. It's still an ornament to me, so. Another ornament that I finished earlier this year is a little candy cane. This came with like a kit that my mom had passed on to me from her crafty time, and it completely is applique as well as the sequins. I had never done any hand sewing like this. It took me only a night to do. Everything that you receive is felt, and you cut it out and then you sew everything together. So from start to finish, and then you also stuff it. So didn't have a name on it because it's 20 years old, and my mom just passed it on to me because she knew I would actually use it. So I want to make a couple more of these ornaments if I actually have some time in the next week. So next couple of weeks. Another ornament. Can you tell what I like to do for my Christmas tree? Another ornament is one that I had posted the other day. I believe this is actually on my Instagram story. I think this is I need to put a backing on it again, why I went to the store today. I finished this last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. I made the mistake of, this was actually a 6-pack kit. I believe Dimensions sold it. This was the only one I kept. I passed the other ones on to my ex's family for Christmas because I had stitched those for them, and I never got them back when we broke up, which is fine. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. I would still feel weird if I had them in my house, but I do miss them because I put a lot of work into those. Do y'all ever think about stuff like that? Like when you gift it, if it's actually going to be, because all I can think about is it in the trash. That's really sad. I didn't mean to get sad. But if you look closely, there's some gold in here. DMC metallic thread. If you've used it, you've used it. You know what I'm talking about. But just look at them. And I think it's great because Erickson is a gray kitty. And this just is a full circle. Oh, just love them. So again, I'm going to use this back. Or I'm going to attach it to the back. And it'll be like a... So it hides all of those threads. Because it doesn't bother me because it sits on the tree like this. So that's that. Jessica, Weaving Rainbow, right? Yes, Weaving Rainbow on Instagram sent me something for a super secret thing that's going on, which should be coming out in the next Flosstube if I have everybody's pieces, but that's a secret. She knit a little mouse for Erickson. He loves this thing. It's completely wool. The yarn is wool as well as the stuffing. It's full of wool. Try to say that 3 times. Full of wool, full of wool, full of wool. And he loves this. You can tell he has absolutely been, you know, clawing into it and all of that, but he loves it. It's one of the pieces that... I tossed it to him because he's on the bed and it woke him up. And he's looking at me crazy right now. Oh, why does he always want to sleep during these Flosstubes? I want to bring him over here. Maybe that'll be the last thing. Like a treat for all the people that make it to the end. Another Christmas ornament. My grandmother actually crochets as well. There you go. She actually has an Etsy store, and I didn't ask permission to share it, so I won't. She does everything on her own. She does knit, like, crochet hats and mittens and animals and all of that stuff, and she's been crocheting. She's the one that taught me to crochet about 11 years ago, and I didn't ask her to share the Etsy, and I don't want to bombard her. What is the thought process I'm trying to have right now? I didn't ask her to share the Etsy on this platform, so I'm gonna ask before I share that, so maybe I'll be able to share it next video. But she made these little stockings for my Christmas tree because I did a red and white theme, and it's just something nice to have on the tree. It is a full stocking. I typically put candy canes in there, and she just does a great job. My crochet is nowhere near her experience. I mean, she's been crocheting for 50 years, so it's amazing. I want to share my Ort jar and where it's at because I remember a few Flosstubes ago I finished that Ort jar right there. Ort stands for Old Ratty Thread, so every time that you clip or cut a little thread off of your piece when you're cross-stitching or working with yarn with your crochet, you just keep them in a little jar. I have popcorn in mine. I don't know how the popcorn ended up in there, but it's in there. I have some fabric in there. I mean, this goes in between me and my sewing room, so it just, who knows what ends up in there. But yeah, I think this floss had like a lot of knots in it, so this is where my Ort jar is at. And I only started this one a couple of months ago, so it's kind of already filling up. But, okay. I want to share this. So, it's an heirloom piece. My Nana had made it for me before my birthday, which I am 21 years old, so it's close to 21, 22 years old. It is a quilt. She is a quilter. She does all of the sewing aspect. She's mentioned that she has said this, not me, that she's too old to cross stitch because her eyes just can't focus on even the 14 count Ada because it just strains too much. I mean, she also has cataracts and stuff like that. So sewing is a little bit easier on her eyes because it's really well lit where the machine is at. I want to show this really fast. I used this when I was a child, so it is well loved. Again, now it's treasured and kept in a secret cubby in my closet wrapped in plastic because I don't want anything to happen to it any more than it already has. So This, I don't really know what the name of this type of quilting is, where I'm not sure if it was a kit, I'm not sure if it was, oh, it's upside down. I really don't know much about it. This is the blanket, the quilt. So she did, again, I was a child when she made it. So she did the alphabet, she did cool like motifs in the corners, and each one of these, I'll get a closer look at it here in a moment, but I just want to kind of show the overall. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. As a quilter now, I recognize how much work this is. So I just really just want to share this and kind of cherish it for a little bit with y'all, because I feel like you're my friends and I would show my friends this. There's my name and then there's my birthday. So this is the back. She just used her border fabric as the backing. I do want to get a little bit closer to the camera to show this part, because I always thought this was really cool as a child. I still don't know how she's done it. She probably sewn the piece into the backing like a top stitch, but you can't really tell. So it says, for Noah Keith Baker on his second birthday, oh, there's my full legal name, on his second birthday, August 30th, 2001. So it took her 2 years to make. Made with Love by Nana, and then it has Bardstown, Kentucky, which is where she made it. So, again, an heirloom piece for sure, but I just think this quilting is absolutely amazing. Like, even the motifs, there are holes in it because I was a child when I had it, so who knows what happened to get that. I do want to patch these eventually, but I'm kind of scared to put it back in a machine, and I don't feel like I'm that great of a hand sewer to do it myself. I may take it to someone. Oh, excuse me. I may take it to someone to finish those little holes off because I don't want to ruin them. But even down to how she attached the lettering to, like, look at that. There's just so much work put into this, and I just absolutely love it. Again, it stays hidden because I don't want it to get ruined. So that's it for Crafty Talk. 52 minutes sharp. Not too bad. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee and then we'll get into book stuff. So if you are not interested in book review, I have recently just started doing that. I don't know why. I think this is my first book review. Or maybe I talked about it. I want to start talking about it because I joined a book of the month club, and there's a little book club that I'm a part of now. And so if you're not interested in book review, I will catch you on the next Flosstube. Maybe I won't have any finishes. Unless the stitchy bug is just oh so prevalent. But I will catch y'all then. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow the people I mentioned. If you're here for book talk, hello, welcome. Okay, so I recently just finished Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. I'll go ahead and find a picture of the cover because I went ahead and turned the book back in. So Harbor Me is it focuses around, I think it's 6 students that are in a SPED program. They have a range of learning disabilities, but not only that, they are in middle school, and the book is centered around their personal perspectives of their life situations. So they go into an art room after, I think it's like their last block of their school day, and their teacher allows them to just talk. She leaves the room and they just have an open discussion about whatever they want. So they're in the 6th grade and they are just able to talk about whatever they want. So this is what the book cover looks like, because again, I don't have the book anymore. Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. She also wrote Brown Girl Dreaming, which I read last year for a class of mine, and it was absolutely amazing. It's a personal narrative done in a poetry style of writing, and she just has a great perspective from a woman of color and the trials and tribulations that she faces in that book. But this one is completely fictional. And again, these students are having some some situations in their personal life that you wouldn't think a student would have to go through. So for instance, one of the students, the main like character, her father was arrested when she was 3 years old because they got in a car wreck with her dad, and he was the responsible party on that, and like her mom passed away in the car wreck, so she lost both of her parents at the age of 3, and she remembers that moment of him being arrested, and so she had to grow up with her uncle, and he's still in prison because there was other things attached to the wreck, and there's a whole backstory behind it. I don't want to spoil it, but so she, as a 6th grader, is going through so much trauma in her life that she can connect with other students that have traumas as well. So another student in the story, Esteban, his father was taken away by ICE, and it is an emotional book, and I'm about to get emotional thinking about it. I am not gonna cry on Flosstube. That is just embarrassing. Esteban, his dad was taken away by ICE and was deported back to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico? No, because that's a territory. I can't remember right now because I'm getting emotional and it blurs my brain, but his father was taken away, and so as a student you could watch how there's in his story like his academics drop and he's antisocial and he doesn't talk to his friends anymore, but even though they're in this room with one another, they start to kind of warm each other up, and he gets to talk about it, and listening to his personal story of the impact that his father's deportation had on his family and how scared he was that his mom was going to be taken away as well because he was a natural born citizen, and she was undocumented as well, like his mother, and he was scared his mom was going to be taken away. I mean, it is just a powerful story. And there's another, there is a young student, Amari. He is a student of color. He is black, and he talks about how he has to have a store. He was playing in the yard one day, and with his Nerf guns with his little brother in the front yard, and he was 10 years old, and his dad runs out front and yells at him to come inside immediately, and he gets to talk. And this is talked about a little bit, but the way that Jacqueline Woodson wrote this story, she used a lot of different resources and personal narrative stories that she's asked people. She did a lot of research to make sure her perspectives were correct. But she talks about how Amari had to sit down with his dad, and his dad had to tell him that he couldn't play with Nerf guns in the front yard anymore because of his skin tone. And it was no longer safe for him to play in the front yard with Nerf guns, and he only got to play with them in the house. So Amari, as a young student, is talking about how that really affected him when he was growing up, and how he was really bothered by watching his friends that are white were able to do stuff that he was not able to do because of a threat from some outside person. Or it's just a really deep, impactful book. And if you're going to be an educator, I really highly recommend reading that book, because it just really gives you different perspective of students that are going to be in your classroom. And that's the reason I wanted to read it. It was also part of I attached it to a text set for one of my classes, and it's just really good. Highly recommend, 5 out of 5, like completely. It's also on Audible, and it's read with different characters. So I listened to a short sample of it, but it's just really impactful that they have different voices for the different characters. It gives more emotion to it, right? They hit some pretty heavy topics on that. This is the next book that I plan on reading. I just picked it up today. It's called Patron Saints of Nothing. It is by Randy Rebay, right here. This is the book that I'm reading for the book club this month. We meet at the end of the month over Zoom and we just talk about the book. I'm just going to read the summary since I actually haven't read it yet. It's not a book review. I'm just letting you know that I will read it and have a review. It says Jay Ruggiero plans to spend the last semester of his senior year playing video games before heading to University of Michigan in the fall. But when he discovers that his Filipino cousin, Juan, was murdered as part of President Duterte's war on drugs and no one in the family wants to talk about what happens, Jay travels to the Philippines to find out the real story. Hoping to uncover more about him and the effects that led to his death, Jay is forced to reckon with the many sides of his cousin before he can face the horrible truth and the part that he played in it. As gripping as it is lyrical, Patron Saints is a page-turner portrayal of the struggle to reconcile faith, family, and immigrant identity. I read the first couple of pages when I got it today. Oh, this is going to be an emotional book too. I'm like, but it's really good that I read things like this that have different perspectives that I, as a white male, do not have and have not had to deal with. That way it breaks that single narrative and shows me that, you know, there are people that are going through some things that I don't have to deal with because I'm white. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that because that just got really deep again. I'm also reading Barack Obama's, I'm actually listening on Audible to Barack Obama's new book, and he reads it on Audible, and I haven't been able to touch it in a couple of days because of school and everything, but typically I'll put that on while I'm stitching, and I just love listening to his voice. It's so soothing. Really good, really impactful. Both him and his wife really know how to write, Michelle, and it's just really good. So I think that's it. I'll go grab Erickson real quick so I can show him because I love being able to show him because he's growing up so much. Hi, baby. Oh, he's still sleepy. Look at him, y'all. He's so big. Oh my gosh. Say hi. He's like, Daddy, I just want to sleep. You shouldn't have gotten me. I've got to show you all the people. Well, if y'all follow me on Instagram, you'll see plenty of him and I, because that's all I ever post is of him. Hi, honey. Okay, well, with this, I think this will be my sign-off. So, an hour, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I hope you'll have a wonderful 2 weeks. I will see y'all then. School will be over by then. I'll be on winter break, so I might have quite a bit of stitching done. And if it's not a lot, then that's okay too, you know? It's a hobby, it's not a job. Oh my gosh. Look at him. Oh. He got a couple new toys in addition to all the new ones that people have been sending. Oh. And he's just the best. He just, oh, look at him. Okay. Like, comment, subscribe. That's the YouTube stuff. But I will see y'all then, and if I don't see you, and oh, he said, yeah, I'll see you then. I have my DMs open on Instagram. It's much easier for us to have a conversation there than in the comments here on YouTube. You feel free to leave comments here on YouTube, but if you want to have a conversation, I'm much easier to reach over there. But until next time, I'll see y'all then. Y'all just see that yawn? Okay, bye y'all.